Here's hoping you actually watch the other video before you watch this one. That's why this one's numbered number 2. The other one would be a little more interesting, at least you have a person to see. This one is going to be a lot of words to look at, but here goes. I'm going to be talking to you about subject-verb agreement, and I'm going to kind of give you examples of what she was saying in the last video. So think of it as kind of like rule 1, 2, and 3. So rule 1, if you have a singular subject, you need to have a singular verb. For example, that library book tells about dinosaur. In this case, book is our subject. What does the book do? The book tells. Tells is our verb. And if you look at these, you're going to notice something a little bit about the word tells. And I'll come back to that in a second. The author is a scientist from Japan. Well, who or what is the sentence talking about? Well, it's talking about the author. And what is the author? Well, in this case, is. So, those are singular verbs, meaning one, subject, book, and author. Singular verb, tells, is. One way to tell that a verb is singular is that it ends with an S when it is in the present tense. Quite often, not always, but a lot of times, which is where I'm coming back up to the word tells. It has that S at the end, which lets us know it's present tense and it's singular. Singular verbs in the present tense usually end in S. However, verbs with pronouns I and you do not usually end in S. That's the exception to that, so that's why I read that to you. So here are examples with talking about singular verbs in present tense. The exhibit features a skeleton. Who or what is this talking about? Exhibit. And what does it do? It features. So here, notice it has that S behind it. You seem excited for the field trip. What's my subject? You. What are you doing? Seen. In this case, like I already said, I and you, it doesn't have that S at the end. I like the display on fossils, but I have several questions. In this case, I, in both places, is my subject, like, and have. Notice I'm using the pronoun I, and neither one of those has an S at the end. So this is what we're talking about when we are talking about subject-verb agreement. Kind of say it out loud to yourself. I likes the display of fossils. Doesn't really sound right. Rule number 2. Whoops, it would help if I go to rule number 2, not 3. Rule number 2. Use a plural verb with a plural subject. Pretty standard quota here. A plural subject names more than one person, place, or thing. So, down below, several charts list important facts and details. So what's my subject? My subject in this case is charts. Well, what do charts do? Charts list. And notice, there's no S at the end of list. The colorful drawings are interesting. In this case, drawings is the subject. Are is my verb. Jack and Jill run in the yard. This is a plural subject. Here's my subject. All of this. Jack and Jill. I'm talking about both of them. Because I'm talking about both and using the word and, it is a plural subject, and I do not have an S at the end of the verb. The last one is when we have verb phrases, or what we call our main verb and our helping verb. What we're talking about is when we have like are going, is jumping, could have, will be helping, could have helped. Those are all verb phrases. You need all those words together to create the verb. When you have that, the very first word in the phrase has to match whether it's singular or plural. So let's look at the example because I have some singular and some plural. The guide was answering many questions. Who or what are they talking about? Well, they're talking about the guide. So we're talking about one guide. The whole verb phrase is was answering. The word that has to match is was. Guide was answering. Kevin does not know the dinosaur's name. We're talking about what Kevin knows. In this case, we know is our main verb. Our helping verb is does, and does is the singular form, and it has to match. So Kevin do not know, Kevin does not know. And that's what you want to have there. My teachers have been reading the brochure. Well, the teachers is my noun. What have they been doing? Have been reading is the entire verb. So we have been or been reading is but the first word has to go with teachers. Do I say teachers has been reading or teachers have? In this case, it's have because teachers is plural. You are going to be working on 10 simple sentences. If I were to make a suggestion, keep this up, keep this PowerPoint up beside you if you can. And I'm going to attach it also that we give the PowerPoint as well as the video. That way you can reference it when you're doing the work.